You're listening to The Aviation Show,
brought to you by Debella Training.
For more information, contact us on www.debella.co.za now.
And good afternoon, welcome to the Aviation Radio Show. We are coming to you this week from Dubai. I've got the absolute pleasure of having one of the most senior captains in the world. His name is Tom van Rooyen. He flies for a senior carrier. So welcome to the show, Tom.
Good afternoon, Des. Good afternoon, everybody.
So tell us now quickly, how did this whole lot start? You know, where did your passion or your career in aviation start, and when exactly was that?
Well, as a very young child, my father went overseas, brought back, I'd say about a scale model, fairly large 747. I started playing out the garden with it, and the interest was sparked. And then during my national service, I had the opportunity to fly down to Cape Town once. Never flown before, and that was quite a moment. When that 747 SB pulled off out of Johannesburg, I said to my good friend I was visiting at the point, this is what I wanted to do. And ever since then, I just set my mind on doing it.
So does that mean that flying's in the family, or where does the passion come from?
No, the flying's not in the family. I have a cousin far off removed on my mother's side that was in SAA those days, but we never really had much of a relationship. But generally, that was basically where the interest was really sparked, and I enjoyed the concept of the flying. And yeah, here we are today.
And here you sit today. So how many hours have you got now as you sit here today?
Approaching 16,000.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay. So you've seen a few things.
Yeah, quite a few. Thanks.
And you started on what? When let's rewind a couple of years ago. Where did you start on what aircraft?
Well, after my national service in 1990, I started flight training on a Cherokee 140 out of a Vereniging with a flying school called Transavia, run by a ex F1 pilot from the military. And yeah, we progressed from there. Did my PPL, eventually my com. Finalized the commercial license on a Cessna Cutlass with a single common IF, and then yeah, from there on it progressed here a bit, there a bit. Got a twin rating on a Seneca initially, and yeah, that started putting things on. Went from there to a small company called Macair. We flew schedules between Johannesburg International those days and now rather Welkom and Newcastle Freight and so forth.
But before we get on to the career side, tell us, Mickey, a little bit about that solo. That first solo is always very special. I remember I was with big eyes, and then the wind was blowing gales, and I still did it. So what was yours like?
Well, yeah, the first solo, I wasn't, I'm not one of the very bright boys. It took a bit of time, probably more than everybody else, and I kept at it. My original instructor was a little concerned, so he got the CFI involved, and we were supposed to go for a little bit of a check, and the next thing I found myself alone in the airplane. Kicked me out, and yeah, there I was flying.
Yeah, but tell us about that feeling. What did it feel like to be in charge of a Cherokee 140 all by yourself with, what, 15 hours or something?
Yeah, at that stage it was quite daunting. Thinking back, I remember everything was fine. It was all good until I got airborne, and I started looking out to turn onto the crosswind, and I realized the right seat's empty. It's hard to me. So yeah, thoughts of I hope this man's insurance is intact. But nevertheless, I carried on. Did a pretty good job of it. Did a nice landing. Wasn't the smoothest one probably, but it was good enough for the airplane to survive. And yeah, I was quite elated. I got to admit that really put me into second gear, and from there on I was really interested and kept on pushing.
So the first solo is always very special, but there's other special moments in aviation. What would you say has been highlights of your career? Your first solo, what else would be?
There's a lot of highlights in my career. Things like first instructor's rating after the com, which was a very good thing to do. I'll probably get back to that a bit later on. And then passing the ATP flight test, which was really a good experience. And then one of the really big moments was that in 1999, I got signed out as a MD-80 captain on my mother's birthday, which was quite a special day, since she was very instrumental in my training and, well, more or less the paying of it, and sponsoring my career. And yeah, up until this day, that still stand out as one of the best days of my flying career.
Proud moment. I mean, parents make a lot of sacrifices for us to be able to fly. I know my dad, he paid for it. I paid him back, but I mean, he paid for it. So did your mom also do the same?
Well, pretty much. The payback came back much later on. But yes, she made many sacrifices for me to carry on with the flying. I've got to say though that one of the greatest supporters I also had was my brother. When we decided on the flying side of things and to get into it professionally, I wasn't the greatest academic at school, and there was not a lot of trust whether I'd be able to cope with this. However, he said to my mom one evening, and that's something I overheard, he probably, I told him later on about it, but he said to her, you know what, he's always been one of the kind of kids you show him to start something and he gets going with it. And from then on it went fairly well, and I had both my brother and my mother's support. My dad wasn't too keen on the whole business, but he's pretty proud right now.
No, it's amazing. Afterwards, I had a couple of people that didn't believe in me, and it's quite fun to go back to them and say, huh? And what do you say? No.
Yeah, that is.
Okay, so let's get on to the flying career. You've done the first solo, and then you've flown the Cherokee, and then what was the progress from there? What is your first job? Because that's always special.
Well, first job, had the comm, had everything. I didn't actually have a flying job as such. There was a very kind old fellow on the Vereniging Airport. He had the brick factory right next to the airport. And he often had the need for someone to fly his airplane off to Lanseria to get fixed up, avionics, this, that, the other. And eventually he offered me a job as a bricks rep. I drove around Johannesburg in a fairly tired old Corolla.
So you're not a pilot, you're a builder.
Yeah, probably.
What a brick salesman.
Anyway, so, but he often afforded me opportunity to fly him down to his house in Margate, which really started progressing from there on, and that gave me the hours I needed desperately. And then from there on, the first job was with a company called Mac Air. We, as I said earlier on, we flew schedules between small towns like Newcastle, Vryheid and Welkom with Senecas, and on occasion with a Piper Comanche 250, which was great fun as well.
Is that like the top of the fleet? Are you chief pilot?
Well, no. I was the bottom of the barrel at that stage. Those things came later on. And then after that, I got involved flying into Welkom with a gentleman called Alan Roebuck. Fine gentleman. He's, I don't know where he's at the world at the moment, but anyway, he gave me a good break on the Baron, the 55. We flew the Fidelity contract between Kimberley and Welkom. And I eventually ended up in Kimberley as my base, operating from there. That gave me an opportunity to meet the guys from Anglo American, or the De Beers group at that stage. And yeah, I was very fortunate to get in onto the King Air 200 there. That was a great step. Anyway, that lasted about, I'd say about a year and a bit. I applied to SA Express as well as the old Sun Air. And lo and behold, I got into both.
Wow.
Don't know how I did that. Anyway, somebody must have been looking out for me. Anyway, so I decided to go to Sun Air, get onto the jets. Sun Air was great airline.
And what was your first jet?
That was a DC-9, the DC-930 series. We flew for Sun Air, Joburg, Cape Town, the Triangle. That took about just over 3 years. Good flying, it was good training. We had all these ex-South African Airways guys doing the training for us. Yeah, and then from there on, I got my first command, as I explained earlier on, and yeah, 2 weeks later they closed the company. That was interesting.
That's aviation. It's happened to me 5 times. So, yeah.
Anyway, after that, due to the fact that I did a instructor's rating much earlier in my life, I kept that alive by instructing when I wasn't flying the jets. I fell back on instruction. Went out to Kimberley area where I knew a lot of folks and so on, and I started training the farmers under the auspices of NAC in those days out of Bloemfontein. And yeah, it was great fun. But eventually I I convinced the folks at a company called Millionaire. I don't think they exist anymore, Des?
No, they don't exist.
Anyway, they allowed me to go straight into the left seat of a DC-9 and send me off into Africa with the thing. And that's where I ran into yours truly.
And let me just tell you that Tom is the best instructor, and he's also probably the naughtiest guy that you can find in the air. So the balance between the two is fantastic, because he's very relaxed, but he teaches you as well. So just when you think you're going to kill yourself, and he says, I have control, and he takes over and fixes it.
Well, not much of another way to do it, you know, otherwise how are you going to learn? Yeah, we had great times in an airplane. I remember many, many days. That'll probably go beyond the extent of this program, but anyway, those are good days. From there on, Des and I got a bit tired of being away from home, so we nagged old Vesey from SAFER to give us a job on the 7.3s, flying locally under the with an SAA tail, but with a SAFER call sign. Anyway, that was great fun. We had a particularly funny instructor. The one wasn't so funny, but he left us early, and then we had another gentleman. I don't know if you remember the belt incident.
Yes, his name's Tony Arbuckle. Tony, if you're listening, that's you.
Yeah. No, well, let me tell you something about this whole exercise, which was really funny. Des and I was preparing for this conversion, and we're doing our level best there to get things going. And anyway, so I think it was about the third or the fourth evening. Tony had this belt. I mean, it looks like this bulldog collar with the studs on and so on. Now, if you see me and Des is the F and I am the I, the F combination. Anyway, so yeah, we're barreling down the sidewalk on the way to the simulator. Tony's strutting up a couple of yards ahead. Des pokes me in the side. He says, "You better fly straight. I don't like to get beaten with that belt." Well, that was the end of my sim. I couldn't focus too much after that. We kept on laughing about this every time there was a thing going on. So anyway.
We're going to go to a quick break, and we'll be back after this.
Have you ever wanted to travel the world? Then maybe it's time to consider a career in aviation. At the Academy of Aviation, we specialize in cabin crew training. On completion of our SACAA accredited 7-week course, you will be fully qualified to take on an exciting career as a cabin crew member. Our training facility, based at Lanseria Airport, prides itself with the highest standard in the industry. At the Academy of Aviation, our motto is, we do not negotiate safety. Contact us today for a free quote or email us at +27 83 600 3102 or jenib@theacademyofaviation.co.za.
Get all of today's aviation news on one site. Visit pilotspost.com. Updated twice a week, Pilots Post is a convenient way for aviation professionals and enthusiasts to remain updated with the latest aviation technologies, products, events, and news. Aviation safety, technical information, events reports, aircraft reviews, and aviation personalities are some of our most popular articles. Now in its 5th year with more than 100,000 hits per month and almost 15,000 dedicated readers, Pilots Post is available free on the web. No registration is required. To read Pilots Post, simply go to www.pilotspost.com.
And welcome back to the Aviation Radio Show. We're coming to you from Dubai this week, and fascinating chat with senior training captain Tom van Rooyen and his many experiences. But you know, Tom, you go through 16,000 hours of flying. You must have seen one or two emergencies and a couple of things that really scared you. Would you mind sharing some of those with us?
Yeah, I won't mind at all. Some of them were not on the larger jets. Anyways, my first one was a full-on engine failure with the Cherokee 6. I think I had a total of 250 hours. I was flying between Richards Bay and Margate. We were doing the money runs, as we called them those days, for Fidelity. It was IMC. We were heading off towards Margate, and we just below the clouds, trying to basically stay clear. And roughly around about Heberdean, the engine started making some really funny noises. That noises didn't last long because the engine just stopped. Yeah. Never thought it would happen to me, but anyway, there I was.
But what goes through your mind when the engine just stops and you have a look and
Man, yeah, I don't know really anymore. I just knew, now I've got to do something about it. Anyway, I stuck the airplane's nose down, kept flying speed, and tried to look for a place to land. I looked down the coastline, maybe thought, yeah, I could probably stick this thing on the beach. And the more I looked at the beach, the more I realized, yoy, this is not going to work. And then I looked at the water and I always thought, it's not a good idea. Anyway, so as I looked off to my left, I saw this little airstrip that was, it's not there anymore, but it used to be like a 300-meter grass strip for microlights there at Aberdeen next to the railway line. I was too high for this side, too low for the other side. The wind was pumping, it was raining, and I sort of like decided, well, today's the day. I stuck it in there, got on the ground, but we ran out of space pretty quickly. Went over the end, and yeah, the airplane didn't survive. We did, but yeah, that was a pretty scary moment.
That's what counts, eh?
Yeah, yeah. Well, at the end of the day, you know, my philosophy has always been: is if the engine stops turning, the thing's a shock absorber. You just got to get out of it alive.
And what actually, when they did the
well, what happened was
inspection,
when they did the engine inspection, all the valves on the one side broke off and went into the engine and got ingested and basically ruined the whole engine. What we later on learned is that the engine actually, with the shaking and so on, broke off, and it was lying only in the cowling. So if the cowling wasn't properly secured, that engine would have gone, and now, well, I wouldn't be talking to you today. The poor security guard who sat next to me after that said he'll never fly again, and so on. I couldn't blame him. There was a couple of days, it was the most awkward feeling. About 2 days after, I was given a Seneca, and we were flying back on the same route, and it's a pretty awkward thing to look down at a crash site and think, that was me.
Especially from an airplane.
Yeah. Anyway, that went okay. So yeah, the second one, that was, I mean, there's many. I can talk about quite a number of them. Yours truly and I took a 737 down to Cape Town, and yeah, I think it was like about 160 knots V1 when the tires failed.
Bah! The nose gear, at least.
Yeah, well, the nose tires. What basically happened is, we only learned this later on, the capping came off.
It was retread tires.
Yeah, it was recap tires. And anyway, so the capping came off, hell of a noise. Anyway, I just lifted the wheels off the runway and decided to continue the takeoff. We climbed out. I asked Des to keep the gear down. We climbed out and contacted Tower, and they said, yep, awful lot of rubber on the runway.
Your heart just thinks, it just sinks up because you're thinking, oh no.
Not tonight, really. Anyway, we carried on down to Cape Town. I said there's no point in, we couldn't jettison, there's no point to burn a good airplane on a runway. We haven't done our job delivering the freight. So we headed off to Cape Town. There we were over the dead of night in the career, looking through books and thinking, how are we going to do this? That's when Des said to me, I don't want to fly with you anymore, it's always trouble with you. Anyway, we got into Cape Town, a couple of interesting maneuvers with lights being shone from tarmac workers and so forth. We got to know there was gear, but it was pretty noisy landing, eh?
It was fine. It was, you put it down beautifully and you held the nose off, but when that nose wheel touched,
yeah,
man, you couldn't see anything. Those instruments were blurry.
Yeah, it was pretty difficult to gauge where the reverse thrust would be at that point in time. It was just shaking everything to pieces. And I think we got the airplane fixed after that.
We actually went back to Joburg.
We went back to Joburg that very night.
Yes.
Morning, shall I say. Lovely mornings at 5 o'clock into Joburg.
The joys of freight flying. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're late, then you get all the damn traffic on the way home.
Exactly.
It really becomes long, eh?
And then, yeah, for sure.
And then there's certain people who won't mention any names, especially not Johan van Tonda, that puts out a letter to say that the crew has to rest before they drive home.
Yeah, I remember that vaguely.
And old Chris went through the roof, do you remember?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, you don't tell me what to do. Anyway, yeah, so from that on, one of the other ones I had that was really interesting was another light airplane incident. And yeah, we walked away from that. The airplane survived thanks to many hours of instruction on to other guys how to do it.
And that's what they call experience.
Yeah, very good. I wish I had that at 250 hours when I totaled that Cherokee 6, but
that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
You're lucky to walk away from it. But anyway, so tell us quickly now, you're obviously flying bigger aircraft. What exactly is the biggest aircraft you've flown?
The one I'm flying at the moment, which is the 777. Great airplane, fantastic design by Boeing. Really nice airplane to fly. There's only one problem: carries way too much fuel. The thing can go forever. Some of the longest flights I've done, 16 hours and 55 minutes from Dubai to Los Angeles against the winter headwinds. So yeah, but a great airplane.
So how do you manage this long haul versus short haul? How do you manage? Because I think you do a little bit of both. You kind of do a medium haul and then a long haul and ultra long haul.
We even do really short hauls. We've got flights from Dubai to Doha, which are roughly about 28 minutes from takeoff to touchdown. It's an interesting way of doing things. You've got to keep your head about you, especially the long haul sort of flying. You've got to manage your time. You've got to manage your rest. A lot of the flying we do are through the night. It gets interesting to manage your rest, especially time with the family and so forth. So yeah, but it's that's what we do.
So what would you say is the most dangerous part of long haul flying then?
I'd say the dangers with long haul would probably be fatigue. And fatigue is not just being tired; it's just being really, really fatigued to the point where it affects your whole body, your system, your thinking. And the dangers with that is the fact that you can make pretty terrible decisions, which leads to and could lead to disaster.
And just because you're tired.
Yeah, it's purely because you're tired. Now that requires a lot of management and discipline from yourself to keep this going. The long haul has its challenges, that's for sure.
So before we get your advice on long haul, we're going to go to a quick break, and then Tom will be back with the story. So we'll be back.
Real aviation stories with Debella.
Submit your real life story to www.debella.co.za.
And you could be featured on the Aviation Show live on brandlive.co.za or in our upcoming book.
And welcome back to the Aviation Radio Show. We're coming to you from Dubai this week with Tom van Rooyen. So Tom, tell us, in all of these years of experience, you must have had a couple of funny stories that you can share with us. What comes to mind?
Yeah, quite a number. One of the ones that actually really stand out, many years back we were flying this contract in Ghana for Ghana Airways, and as usual we were about 6 hours late, no fault of our own. Anyway, we barreling down on the base leg into Accra, and about, I'd say 10 miles north of Accra, there's that little ridge, remember?
But that weird, it sounds like it involves me. Why
yeah,
does it
of
always
course.
have to involve me?
Well, I mean, come on. It's probably the person I had the most fun flying with. Anyway, so we're heading down this way and towards the sort of like final approach fix, and the ridge is sort of like just before that. And the problem with that is if you had the speed fairly high, the closure rate on the GPWS basically put off the GPWS, and being nighttime, partly cloudy, we come racing in, we get the GPWS, no questions asked. Thrust forward, stick back, and there we go. Didn't think much of it. Came around another turn, did the landing. That wasn't the funny part. The funny part was when we got into the crew bus, one of the cabin crew who worked at the aft galley said, "What did you guys do?" Oh, no, nothing. We had a GPWS, we had to go around. Why? She then told us that at that point, it was sort of like a quick visit to the loo.
Parking my body on the toilet.
Yeah. Anyway, apparently she was just about done and had her panties halfway up when we decided to open the thrust and push the levers and pull the stick. And apparently we just promptly set her down back onto the toilet.
And there she was stuck.
And there she was stuck sort of like midway gearing up. So yeah, we only learned about this on the bus ride back home, but that was quite funny. That was a really funny story.
But we've had, I mean, together we've had so many stories. I can keep you busy for like half a day. So just in closing, because we're just about to go, what advice would you give to the young guys that are starting out in this wonderful world of aviation? What would you tell them?
Truthfully, stay away. It's like smoking, man. It's nice, but it'll kill you eventually. No, all jokes aside, it's not really an industry about being smart, being knowledgeable, and so forth. More about perseverance. It's not the smart guys that get ahead, it's the guys who are really sticking it out, you know? The guys who just keep on coming back. Yeah, listen to your instructor, but don't listen to him when he says don't do it. Keep on doing it. We need pilots. I'd like to get to retire at some point. Get your comm and then get an instructor's rating. That's my best advice. My instructor's rating has not only paid for a lot of stuff, but it's helped me out every time they close the airlines. So that'll be my advice. And
it's going to close somewhere along the line. But Tom, we've run out of time once again. It's been absolutely fantastic having you on the show. Thank you for being here and being such an inspiration. As I said, one of the best instructors in the world. So look him up if you want a rating. Tom van Rooyen is the guy to speak to.
Thanks, Des. Thanks for your kind words. It's been a pleasure, folks. Have a nice day.
Wonderful. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You have been listening to The Aviation Show on brandlive.co.za, proudly brought to you by DeBella Training.
Visit www.debella.co.za now.